Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Beatles Forever. I've often wondered what cars the Beatles owned in their time with the Beatles, and today we're going to find out what cars struck the fancy of John, Paul, George, and Ringo. We'll start with the cars they got in 1964 when they started to get some money from their success, and then we'll go through to the end of the Beatles. It should be pretty interesting. Okay, first up is John Lennon. John first purchased a Rolls-Royce, a used two-tone maroon and black cloud. He didn't have a license and he had to hire an ex-Welch bodyguard to chauffeur him around. According to mentalfloss.com, Lennon got his driver's license at the age of 24 on February the 15th, 1965. He was regarded as a terrible driver by all who knew him. He finally gave up driving after he totaled his Aston Martin in 1969 on a trip to Scotland with his wife Yoko Ono and his son Julian and her daughter Kyoko. Lennon needed 17 stitches after the accident. I guess John knew from that terrifying episode he wasn't meant to drive a car. Luckily, no one was killed in the accident, and the injuries were bad enough though. He put the banged up car on a pillar in his yard. I don't think I would have wanted any reminders of that wreck. He bought Cynthia and Mini Cooper around that time, and that sounds neat. He then, in 1965, placed an order for 2 more cars. So, the first was a Mini Cooper S. Radford DeVille, and it was delivered in February 1966. Lennon requested the car be finished in black with a black leather interior, black wheels, and black bumpers. It was also specified with a full-length Webasto sunroof. That sounds pretty fancy. And the second car that he got was a Rolls-Royce Phantom 5, ordered with every factory option. The Rolls would take 6 months to complete, by which time Lennon had passed his driving test. I guess the Rolls gave John the incentive to get his driver's license. And once he got his license, he went car wild and started to buy even more cars. The day after he got his license on February the 15th, he got visits from various car dealers, and he decided on a Ferrari 330 GT Series 1 painted blue with a blue interior, to which he added a Webasto sunroof. That sounds like a car that could be hard to handle for an inexperienced and bad driver as he was. He then got a Valentine black Rolls-Royce Phantom 5 in June 65. It was configured with a one-way triplex deep light passenger glass, black upholstery, a cocktail cabinet, a 7-piece luggage set, a Perdio portable television, and a refrigeration cabinet in the trunk. Wow, that was some car. It's just like driving your home on the road. 1965 was the year of the car for John Lennon, who seemed to have car fever. That's okay. He was working hard and wanted to spend his money on things he could never dream of before. He got his first Mercedes, which was blue on gray. It was a 230 SL, and it was delivered in August of 1965. According to supercarnostalgia.com, in December of that year, the black Phantom 5 was sent for servicing and further customization, and Lennon submitted a 7-page list of alterations to include a modified rear seat that converted into a double bed. Oh boy, John's really got some wish list going on here. An oversized ashtrays added to the armrest, a Philips Auto Mignon record player with floating suspension that prevented the needle from skipping, a Philips tape recorder and a specialty-built cabinet, a Sterno radio telephone, a Sony TV television, a public address system, and a black wheel trims. Additionally, the horn was modified to play Lily Marlene. So that was quite fancy. A few years later, the Phantom 5 got a paint job in psychedelic wave because George had his Mini car painted, the Mini Cooper painted in a psychedelic way. In 1967 of October, Lennon visited the London Motor Show where he purchased his first right-hand drive, an Iso Fidea, which was a second Fidea off the production line. In 1968, John Lennon style had changed from flashy psychedelic look to more normal color look than cars. He bought a used all-white Rolls-Royce Phantom 5. It sounds nice. And this became the main car that he used during his time. I guess John had a love for the Rolls-Royce. He seems to be buying them kind of frequently. As I mentioned earlier, John was in a bad accident during the summer of '69, but that didn't cool his love of buying cars, even though he did decide driving wasn't for him. He placed an order for a Mercedes-Benz 600 Pullman. That Mercedes was the most expensive car of the time. The white Mercedes was delivered in February of 1970, and it featured black velvet upholstery, front and rear Becker Grand Prix radios, and a Philips Mignon EP in-car record player. This is amazing. I never realized that John was such a car lover, which was unique considering he wasn't very good at driving. And it makes sense, though, because John was always going to appointments and probably wanted a car that he could enjoy while traveling in it. Next up is Paul's cars. When the Beatles hit it big with Beatlemania, Paul decided to purchase his first luxury car. Prior to departing for a world tour in June of '64, McCartney placed an order for his first high-end motor car. It was an Aston Martin DB5. The DB5 was specified in Sierra Blue with a black interior, and among the options was a Philips Auto Mignon record player. So I guess he liked John's record player and decided to get one like his. And the black interior of it was neat with the Sierra Blue color on the outside. And George was so impressed with this that he ordered one for himself. But we'll get more on George in a little while. I guess Paul wanted to feel like James Bond in that luxurious car. And then what a great manager Brian Epstein was. He ended up ordering a fleet of 4 special Mini Coopers for McCartney, Lennon, Harrison, and Starr. And each Cooper S was individually modified. According to supercarnostalgia.com, McCartney's was converted to a unique Radford DeVille, and the car was painted Aston Martin California Sage and fitted with DBS taillights. And then McCartney requested a black leather interior, full-length sunroof, recessed fog lights, electric windows, a walnut dash, Smith instruments, and custom wheels. And Paul must have loved the Aston Martin because in '66 he ended up ordering another one. Paul added on an Aston Martin DB6 to his small cachet of high-end cars, ordered direct from the factory in Goodwood green with black interior. McCartney requested a reel-to-reel tape recorder fitted in the dashboard. Wow, he requested the reel-to-reel in the dash. It must have cost a pretty penny, and I can't imagine how it could look in the car and how they could do that. But money can get you what you want. In 1968, Paul decided to get a foreign luxury car and got an Italian exotic, a rare right-handed drive Lamborghini 400 GT 2+2. It was painted red with a beige pigskin interior. So far, the Beatles have very good taste in expensive cars, and George took his first splurge in 1964 after the success the Beatles had, and he got a white Aston Martin DB5 and a gray Jaguar E-Type coupe, and the Jaguar was custom with a Philips Auto Mignon in-dash record player. And George got the Aston Martin after seeing Paul's. And just like John, George got car fever and ordered 2 more cars towards the end of 1965. He got a green Ferrari 275 GTB and a metallic black Mini Cooper S customized by his coach builder, Harold Radford. The Ferrari and the Mini arrived soon after the Beatles had completed the U.S. tour. It sounds like George had a love of Mini Coopers, and who could blame him? They are a sporty-looking car. When George got into the Indian culture, he had his Mini Cooper repainted. The Radford Mini was repainted with red psychedelic images inspired by the book Tantra Art. And both John and George's psychedelic cars appeared in the Magical Mystery Tour movie, so take a look at them when you watch the movie. It's funny that George would sometimes give away things, not small things, and then want to get it back. He gave away his red Mini Cooper to his great friend Eric Clapton, but later bought it back from him in the 70s, I think. Harrison purchased his first Mercedes-Benz in 1967, a short wheelbase 600. And George really wanted a Rolls-Royce, but owing to the 3-year waiting list, he bought the Mercedes instead. And John Lennon was so impressed with Harrison's 600 that he ordered his own, the 600 Pullman limousine. And George also purchased a blue Ferrari 365 GTC in 1969. George purchased another two Mercedes in 1970, a red 250 CE pillarless coupe and a white 6.3-liter 300 SEL. And then he acquired John Lennon's white Pullman limousine when Lennon moved to New York with Yoko Ono in August of 1971. That was interesting to find out. John and George seemed to like the same type of cars. And last but not least, we get to Ringo Starr and his cars. He, in 1964, acquired the Facile 2 that was the fastest four-seater around. It had luxurious leather and carpets, a painted wood effect metal dashboard that sits in a seemingly incredible distance away, an oversized Nardi steering wheel jutting out to meet your arms. Then Facile carrying upwards of 4,000 pounds, the car could accelerate from 30 to 70 miles an hour in just 4.9 seconds. So that's a lot of horsepower in there. But the Beatles convinced Ringo to sell the car after he had a slight accident. They needed the four members in their group, and they couldn't afford to lose Ringo. And according to TradeUnique.com, in 1967, Ringo had gotten a Mini Cooper Radford DeVille, and that was from manager Brian Epstein. The luxury Mini was modified with a hatchback so that it could accommodate Ringo's drums. That's neat. So Brian was very thoughtful. Now a Merc man, Starr had an eclectic taste, from a standard Vanguard, his first car, to a Barris customized 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. And then he had also got a 1969 Mercedes-Benz 280 SE 3.5 coupe. But they stated early in 1980, Starr had lost control of this car on Robin Hood roundabout in Kingston, and it clipped a curb, somersaulted, and landed on its back. He and passenger Barbara Bach, the former Bond girl and future Mrs. Starr, escaped with minor cuts and bruises. They later had the car crushed into a cube and installed in their home. Now, John and Ringo had the same mindset. They wanted to keep the car as it caused them to be injured. But I guess it was a good reminder that things could have been much worse. But it's neat to see how the Beatles spent their money once it started to roll in. They worked hard, and it was the start of getting things that were out of their grasp before rock stardom struck. These cars show their unique personalities and how they fell into the finer things of life. They achieved their dreams and all the good things that can come from that. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, that would be great. And I hope everybody's been having a good day. And tune in again for the Beatles Forever. Thank you. Bye.